Hey, Matt here with Matt's Vintage Video Games. Another installment, another video, more excitement. So listen, I want to tell you a story. Before I was in the flea market, I've been in two different flea markets as of right now. Before I was at the flea market, I had I'm going to call him a friend, a guy that I started getting into business with. And he had a physical storefront, a mom and pop shop in the middle of a little town up the road from me where my residence is. And so I decided that I was going to get together with him. We were going to try to run the business together. I was going to do my thing with the video games. He was going to do his thing with the antiques. I just basically I basically rented space inside of his store. So, but I was there all day, manning my operations, buying, selling, trading, doing what I needed to do for my business, and then I was there to help advertise for his business and try to grow the business, grow the company together. Anyway, the reason I'm not really calling him a friend is because we kind of had a fallout. He saw the money I was making, and I think he wanted it all, so he, wanted to cut me out. That's fine, whatever, it's his shop, he can do what he wants, so I go on down the road. But before I left, every now and then we would get somebody to come in with a lot of stuff, and then sometimes they were games, sometimes they were antiques, but generally if they were games, then that was my avenue. So then I would take a look and we could see what we could do. Well, one day we're sitting there and we're just having a conversation about whatever topics, and we like to sit around and just shoot the breeze all day, and when there's nobody in the store. And here comes a guy in the store with a big box, and I mean a big, 16 by 16 box, filled with boxed NES games. And I mean, they were all complete in box. Some of them still had the plastic around it. So I'm excited. I mean, I'm stoked. I'm like, oh, this is great. These games are probably worth a fortune of money, but I'm thinking in my head, real quick, man, how much money do I got on me? Because this is going to cost me some cash. This is not going to be, $50 or $100. This is going to be several $100s, depending on what's in there. So he brings the games in and he sits them up on the counter, and then I got a whiff of them. And let me tell you, they stunk. They smelled bad. It smelled like they were clearly in a barn with some horses or some cows or something. I mean, for a long enough period of time that it was rank. I mean, it smelled like cow crap. I mean, it just did. It was pretty rough. Which, doesn't really bother me because, I mean, as you can tell by my voice, I'm from the country anyway, so, that's a smell that I smell all the time, so it's not that big of a deal to me. But if I'm going to pack this stuff and send this out on eBay and somebody opens that package and they get the same whiff that I got, believe me, somebody in California is not going to be happy. Somebody in wherever is not going to be happy that their collectible item smells like cow dung. So I thought, man, this is a terrible shame. And I wish I would have taken pictures of it at the time because it was a really nice sight to see. I mean, there were some really good games in there that, despite the smell, might have, even sold just the cartridges only, would have been worth hundreds of dollars. But I don't even know if they could have been clean. They smelled so bad. I don't even know. The smell would have been in the plastic, and, they were rough. So, I don't want to be rude to the guy. I don't want to say, oh, this stuff stinks, it's terrible, get it out of my store. I say, because I do want to get it if I can get it for a price that leaves me room on it, because, the amount of time it's going to take me to clean all these, if I can even get the smell out, I don't know. And, it's going to take some time and effort, so I just tell him, I say, look, man, I got to be honest with you. They got a serious odor to them. It's pretty bad. So I'm going to have to clean every one of these, and I can about guarantee you that the boxes are not going to be able to be cleaned because you're never going to get the smell out of the boxes, And he's like, oh, what are you talking about? These have been in my house for 20 years. They don't smell. They're fine, And maybe the guy owns a horse farm or something. I don't really know. But I can tell you, I know what that smell is, and that's exactly what that smell is. And it was pretty apparent what it smelled like. So You know, I just say I immediately I knew I offended the guy right off the bat, and I was really trying to be just as put this as nicely as I possibly can, and then he says, well then, what's your offer on these? And I said, well, I'd be honest with you, if I could get the lot of what you have there, and there was probably 100 games. And now it might have been a little less than that. I don't know, but I don't believe that it would have been any more than that. And I said, if I can get the lot for about $300, that's what I've got in my pocket to spend, and I would buy them from you. And he was completely insulted right away. And these is worth $100,000, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars here, and you make a fortune of money. And I just like at that point it was obvious I wasn't going to be able to buy them. The biggest thing about this was the loss of the Nintendo games. You look at all these great titles that somebody knew to keep complete, somebody knew to keep them in a box, somebody knew to put them all together and keep them all together and keep them in good condition, but somebody failed to take better care of wherever they put them out. It smelled like cow crap, and it was terrible. So other than that, somebody did a really good job at trying to keep them all together, but they really had an odor to them after all these years. Where it come from, I don't know. So anyway, his rebuttal to that is I wouldn't take no less than $1,200. And I looked at my friend, and like maybe he wanted to give it a shot for that money. I don't want to give it a shot for that money. And then he was completely offended, and when both of us were like, no, there's no way, there is no way. And he was so hot and took off out of there and left out of there, and slammed the door on his way out, and was cussing all the way up the sidewalk. And I felt like, man, he probably feels like I'm trying to rip him off, but I don't know if maybe his nose was broken, or maybe it's just to where he comes from. Like I said, maybe he is around all that stuff all the time, so everything in his house and everything smells that way. I don't know, but whatever it was, those games had a terrible odor, and I knew that no serious collector was going to pay up for it if I had to put in my listing, beautiful, pristine copy, gorgeous condition, looks great, has manual, boxes in nice condition, no major wear, even has the original plastic, and smells like horse dung. Nobody's going to buy it. I got to tell you, nobody's going to buy it. Or they're going to buy it and they're going to get it and realize that, and then go back and read the listing, and they're going to contact me and say, I'm sorry, I didn't read that. I'm going to pay to send it back to you and get a full refund on it. And they would. So it would just be a whole can of worms. I saw that from the start, and it's unfortunate because there were a lot of really, really good titles in there. I don't think there was a $1,000 bill in there anywhere, but there were certainly some good ones in there. There was a complete in box Shatterhand. There was several that were pretty decent. I can't think of the names off the top of my head, but there was no real. I mean, there was no 1990 World Championship gold cartridge in there, complete in box. I mean, it's okay. So it's not that serious. I don't believe there was a little Samson in there, complete in box. I would have saw that right away. That ones like that, it would have been worth buying if they were there, even if it did smell bad, because I could just simply put that in the listing and deduct a little bit of money for that, and I would have probably been able to sell it. But there was just no way that I was going to be able to flip that merchandise, knowing that they were going to smell like that. And besides that fact, could you imagine I put them all in my store, and then when people walk in the door, they go, man, what's that smell? So it didn't work out. But it's a real shame to see the games gone, because unless somebody ended up paying up for them, which I don't think anybody would have, at least not anybody that's in the industry like I am. But you never know. I see some people like to sell stuff on Facebook and whatever, and they don't feel the need to mention that, I guess. I don't know, but and in any event, I hope he got rid of them. I hope they went to a good collector, somewhere along the road. I hope somebody that can appreciate them got them and appreciates them. But boy, I would have hated to go through the headache of trying to sell those individually on eBay or putting them in my store case and see what kind of attention I would get with that. So anyway, that's my story for today. It's the one of the biggest buys I could have ever had, and one of the biggest heartbreaks to see all those games, and they looked great, but they smelled terribly. So anyway, thanks again, guys, for watching. I always appreciate it. Find me online, guys. Visit my website. I always appreciate it when you do. Give me a good Yelp review, guys. I'm on Yelp. I'm on Google. I'm on Facebook. I'm everywhere. I am Matt with Matt's Vintage Video Games. www.mattsvintagevideogames.com.